Okay, so I honestly wasn't going to shoot a video about this golf course, but having just gotten back a few days ago, I found myself telling everybody about it because it was so cool. And even though I don't have as much video B-roll as I wanted because I wasn't planning on shooting this video, I just have to tell you about it. So today, we're talking about one of the newest golf courses in the US. It's one of the most fun golf courses I have ever played, and I can almost guarantee that you didn't even know it existed. Let's talk about it. So I've had this recent realization of just how much good golf there is in the world. So this past weekend, I went to Minneapolis, Minnesota for the first time to visit Windsong Farm Golf Club. Now, up until a couple months ago, I had never heard of Windsong Farm. The South Course is generally rated as one of the 10 best courses in Minnesota, but I had never heard of it. So you can imagine my surprise when I show up and everything about this place is awesome. Now, to be clear, the South Course, we're gonna talk about that, but that's not the purpose of this video. So hold on for the mind-blowing fun golf course I was talking about. But Windsong Farm Golf Club was built in 2002 with the South Course that was designed by John Fote and Tom Lehman. Now, typical to a lot of the designs that John did back in the late 90s and early 2000s, it is a beast of a golf course. It is a championship golf course with a capital C. It stretches out to 7,600 yards. It's spread out over 220 acres. So it's not only beautiful, the landscape there is incredible, but this course will beat you up. Windsong Farm is a golf club through and through. So you're not gonna find a pool, you're not gonna find tennis courts, you're not gonna find all of the country club stuff that you might expect at your typical club. No, this is all about the golf. And I will say the food at the club is excellent, but that is not necessarily the focus. So I arrived on a Friday afternoon and we went straight out to play the South Course. Again, like I said, this course is awesome. It beat me up. I'm not gonna lie, it beat me up. But there are some really, really fun golf holes and just the rolling landscape, the different colors, it is one of the more picturesque courses I have played in a long time. But here's where things get interesting. So right across the street from the clubhouse in the South Course was a plot of land that was owned by Dave Myers, who is the owner of the club. And for a while, he's been thinking about building something out there. The problem is the land, I believe, is 110 acres. It's somewhere between 100 and 125 acres, which frankly is not a whole lot of space. To build a golf course, let alone a good one, let alone an interesting one on that little space, is obviously very challenging. Now, to be clear, it can obviously be done. I mean, Marion comes to mind, or a more recent example would be the Sheep Ranch at Bandon Dunes. So it's doable, but it definitely requires a little bit of a change in thinking. You're not building a 7,600 yard championship golf course on that small piece of land. So they brought back John Fote and said, hey, we've got this piece of land, what would you do with it? And the result is the North Course, which essentially feels like a Seth Rayner course that came straight out of the 20s. This place is so cool. So for starters, you have a bunch of template holes. You cross under the tunnel, and the first thing that you see when you get to this course is one of the coolest Biarritz holes I have ever seen. It's the fourth hole, it's kind of front and center right by the patio, everybody sees it, and this is a Biarritz done right. It's got a massive 5-foot plus swale right through the center, and they mow the entire thing at green height, which is really what you want to see. Some of these types of holes, they don't mow the front section to green height. It's one of those things that's tricky to do, it requires a lot of maintenance. So to see this done right is so much fun. And if you aren't sure what a Biarritz green is, imagine a massive green, you've got bunkers on each of the four corners, and then you have a giant swale that goes down through the center of it. So let's say you hit it to the front and the pin is on the back, you're gonna have to putt through this giant swale, which makes for some really fun putts in a really fun golf hole. Arguably the most famous example of this is the 9th hole at Yale, and this one feels more similar to that than many other similar holes I've played. To go along with that, there are 6 total par 3s on this course. The 2nd hole is an Eden template, which has some insane pin positions. The 8th hole is a version of a Dell hole, which has some partially designed pin positions, so it's really tough to see what the green is doing from the tee. The 17th is a classic Redan. The 18th is a Cape hole. So you have all of these really cool templates, but then mixed in, you have these other holes that are just as fun, they're just as unique, and they feel just as at home in a course like this. So from the back tees, this course stretches out to just shy of 6,500 yards, which doesn't seem like a lot, but when you factor in there are 6 par 3s, it actually plays a lot longer than you would think. We played it from the blues, which measures about 6,200, and it was one of the longer feeling 6,200 yard courses that I've played. A couple of my favorite holes are the drivable par 4 9th hole. So this hole is so cool. It's a downhill tee shot from the blues. It only played about 260 yards, and you had a lake directly in the background. There were 3 centerline bunkers leading up to the green, so it really forced you to think about what club you were going to use. Many people, especially when this hole is playing downwind, will have a legitimate shot of getting this on the green off the tee. But if you go too far, you're in the water. If you go too short, you're in the bunker. If you bail out to the right, you're going to have a very precarious approach shot that needs to get over the bunkers and not go over the green, which is a fairly narrow green. There are so many different options on this hole, and it is one of the best short par 4s I've ever played. Another favorite hole is the par 3 13th. So from top to bottom, this green has 10 feet of elevation change. That's right. 10 feet of elevation change in a green. It's actually a double green that is shared with the 16th hole, but it is so much fun to hit it up on that ridge and then watch it roll all the way back down to the hole. I can also imagine some very precarious situations where if you're on the 16th green and it's a back pin placement and you overshoot it, well then you're going to have an insane putt going back up that 10 feet of elevation to get back up to the hole. As you might expect with this small footprint, the North Course is extremely walkable, and in fact, it's really cool because so many of the greens just morph right into the tee boxes, which leads to a really streamlined, really elegant, and really kind of classic look. And one thing you might also be wondering is, due to such a small footprint, does the course feel claustrophobic? And for the most part, no. I was actually surprised. We didn't really have any instances of people hitting into us on different holes. Not to say that there couldn't be. I mean, there's definitely areas where you could come across other groups. Like I said, if you're on 16 green and you overshoot it, you might end up down on the 13th green. One quirky area of the course is on the 15th hole, where you actually tee off back over the 14th green. Again, under most circumstances, this isn't going to be an issue. They have 15-minute tee times, which are generally spread out. They have a relatively small membership, so I think it works for a course like this. But if this were like a high-capacity public course, obviously probably not going to work out as well. Anyway, across the board, with every hole, I just found myself being, oh, that's a cool look, or oh, that's a cool feature, or oh, I've never seen that before. And those are the most fun rounds for me. I really, I'm gonna be honest, I went out to Windsong Farm not knowing anything about the club. So to play the South Course, which I was so impressed by the first day, and then to go across the street and play a completely different golf course. You do not feel like you are on the same property. These courses do not feel like they were built in the same century when you compare them to each other. But I think that's one of the things you want to see in a private club that has 2 courses. This kind of blew my mind. This is actually the only private club in Minnesota that has 2 courses. And the fact they are so different from one another really provides a lot for the membership. And I commend them for taking what's really a chance. This is a pretty out there idea, and it was really, really well executed. And honestly, I think the North Course in the coming years is going to get even more attention from the South Course, which is saying something because that's an excellent track as well. A couple other things to note is we stayed in the Murphy House, which is the cabin that is available for member use. It was one of the best golf cabins I have ever stayed in. You've got 4 suites up on the top level. Waking up and seeing the view over the South Course with my coffee was amazing. It had one of the most stocked kitchens and fridges I've ever seen in a golf cabin. And then you go downstairs, there's another living room and another full kitchen that is just as stocked, as well as 2 more bedrooms. And then mere feet away from the house, you have your own private lit putting green, as well as a fire pit. And admittedly, we were up far too late enjoying, well, just how great that is. That has got to be one of the best features you can have at a destination private club, is that lit putting green, fire pit, drinks. It's a vibe. Really, really enjoyed it. So all that to say, I'm sorry if I was a little light on the B-roll on this because I wasn't planning to shoot this video, but I just find myself going back and continuing to think about this course. It left an impact on me. It was so much fun. I can't wait to go back and play it again sometime soon. If you are in the Minnesota area and you've got some connections, it is worth the effort to try and get out there. It truly is a special place. So with that, my name is Sean Ogle, founder of this thing here, Breaking A, where we talk about cool golf courses and cool golf products. If you enjoyed this, if you got some value out of it, maybe hit subscribe, leave a comment, drop a thumbs up, do all of the things, and we'll see you on the next video. Peace.